room that had a lot of question marks last year has quite a few, or a lot better depth this year. Your thoughts heading into the season as you're able to play just a little bit last year?
I feel like we have a really really good room. I feel like we all mesh together well. We all bring a different dynamic, to the game. I will probably put myself as like the more versatile that can do everything back. But then we have Keywan Lacey coming in from Missouri.
Yeah.
He's that change of pace back, that home run hitter, that explosive playability, kind of like Dewish last year. And then we got Don from last year, a seasoned vet that can get the job done in every aspect. We got DT coming in from Troy, another hard, tougher in between and running tackles, break a lot of tackles. And we got Shakai coming in as a freshman that has that that size speed ratio that's pretty rare, that comes to a school. So I think that we have a really really good back with like a lot of potential.
We saw you a little bit in the Gator Bowl. Had the knee brace on at one point, took it off the other. Good to go first of the season.
Good to go, full go.
What makes Shakai Mills Knight so good? I mean, he's highly decorated out of Tennessee, but he had all the accolades coming in. What makes him such a good running back? And is that transitioning over pretty well early?
I definitely would say it's transition over well. Every freshman has their learning curves. 9 times 10 more with like understanding like concept and schemes of like pass pro and stuff. But ultimately, I feel like he's picked up on a lot of information. He spends a lot of extra time, with Coach Fred and with Coach Schmidt, learning, asking me and Dominique and Keywan questions about what he needs to do better to get better. So I feel like, just coming in as a young guy, being eager to play, eager and ready. I feel like he's done good, and what makes him special is, like I said, that size speed ratio. He's 6'1", 6'2", almost 220 pounds, but he ran 10.5, 10.6 in high school. So, extremely powerful, but at the same time, extremely fast. And that when you're powerful and fast, it's hard to tackle. So I feel like, in the near future, he's going to, make a lot of plays here and be a really good back here as well.
When you decided into the portal from LSU, what made Ole Miss stand out, and what made Ole Miss the destination for you?
Because coming out of high school, I don't think a lot of people knew this, but me and Coach Smith had a really good relationship out of high school. It was down to LSU, Ole Miss, and Notre Dame. I think a lot of people didn't necessarily knew that. And, every time I entered the portal, when I entered the first time from Notre Dame, they were the first people that called me, got me to come up here on a visit. And then when I entered the second time, first people to call me had understood and knew about my injury in the bowl game. And the plan wasn't for me to, we want you to come back right now and rush you back. The plan was, we want you to come back, we want you here, we know the kind of player that you are, and we believe in you and your mindset to come back from your injury and help us this year, or help us this upcoming season. And they're the first people to call me as well, and I feel like that speaks volumes. Kind of, not in a bad way, but like kind of gave them the cold shoulder twice, but at the same time, they still believed in me and still trusted in me. So at the same time, I feel like I not necessarily owed it to them, but I feel like it was a blessing, it was an honor that that they wanted me even at my lowest, and that speaks a lot about this place and about the coaches too.
What makes Lane Kiffin so special as a head coach?
I definitely would say what makes Coach Kiffin special as a head coach is probably his resume. All the great players that he's been around, and great coaches that he's been around. Being able to give us that feedback of what it takes to get to the next level, what it looks like at practice to get to the next level, how how the good players approach the game, how the good players approach football. He's been at each level. He's been in the NFL. He's been coaching side by side with with Coach Nick Saban. From the running back position, he's had some of the best backs to grace a college football field. So I feel like just him and his knowledge of the game and what he gives to us and the information that he gives us makes him extremely special, because I feel like everything that he says and he knows it has a purpose, and I feel like he knows exactly like what he's talking about, and he has the facts and statistics to like prove it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.